Hello and welcome to the channel again. This is Sam, trying to spin to win on Swift. Well, today's the last race of ZRL Season 3, and the race is going to be really interesting for a number of reasons.
I am so excited!
I know, right? Really exciting. The first reason is that we're doing a new course today called the Danger Noodle. Never done this course before. It looks interesting, challenging, and I'm really looking forward to see how we go on this one today. The second reason is that my form, I feel, is continuing to improve. So, who knows? Maybe we can go for a top 5 today. That'd be a lot of fun as well. And third, and most important, the team I'm racing for, Team Swedish Swifters Mimir, we have a real chance of actually winning the whole division in this edition of the ZRL.
Yes! That's awesome!
I know, right? Exciting! Anyway, let's have a quick look at today's course and then the standings in the league after 5 stages before we see how this race pans out. The Danger Noodle looks a really interesting course. At 32 kilometers with over 400 meters of elevation, there is quite a lot of climbing involved here, but there are no big climbs and the whole course should be pretty draftable. So I just don't know how hard it's going to be. Yes, the Titan Groves climbs are challenging, but I never think there's decisive of a selection point as, for example, the climbs we had on the Queen stage on the Everything Bagel course last week. Swift Insider estimates that at 4 watts per kilo, it will take around 50 minutes to complete the course. I had a quick look at some of the finishing times of some of the earlier races in the other time zones, and I think we may go a little faster than that. So some 45 to 50 minutes, I think, is a safe bet. At the end of the day, I think this is going to come down to a bunch sprint. Yes, some riders will get dropped, especially if the pace stays high, but I think there'll be enough that they're going to manage to hang on for a big bunch sprint. I just hope I'm one of them. All right, now let's have a quick look at the standings after the first 5 races of this season. My team performed very well on the Queen stage, which we actually won overall. And with that, we reclaimed the top spot in the league table. But as you can see, we are actually tied on points with Tugaz, both sitting at 74 points ahead of today's race. We are both 5 points ahead of R3R, so unless something dramatic happens, it looks like it will be a fight between us and Tugaz for top spot in this season. Like all of the 5 prior races, it will likely be very close between Tugaz and us, and I honestly don't know who will come out on top today. Very exciting. Okay, the time for peaceful negotiation has long since passed. It is time to settle this the old-fashioned way, with a proper ding-dong in the field. Time to get our game face on.
Let's race.
As I count down to the start of the race here, a few comments on our tactics for today. While it is a scratch race, we really wanted to make sure we worked as a team, as we knew that every point counted today, with the competition against Tugaz being so close. So, during the race, we chatted quite a bit on Discord to make sure we knew how the others on the team were feeling, etc. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't think this course would be hard enough to really break up the peloton that much. So the goal was to have as many of our team as possible in the likely bunch sprint at the finish. Apart from that, we would draft as much as possible during the race and not cover attacks from single riders. But if a few riders went off the front, then we would check who they were before deciding whether to chase or not. Again, the key was not to let any Tugaz riders get away. I have actually skipped forward quite a bit here, and we are now fast approaching the first Titan's Grove climb. Not too much had actually happened until now. One rider went off the front for a few kilometers, but the peloton didn't really react as it was just a single rider, and we soon caught up to him. I'm close to 280 watts on average, or around 3.6 watts per kilo, so the pace has been steady, but nothing crazy, and at this point I'm feeling good. I can also tell that all 6 of our riders are still here, but I believe that one Tugaz rider had been dropped at this point. But still, the majority of the starting peloton is still here. This is a short climb at around 900 meters, but I think it was the steepest part of the course. So I knew that people would likely push here. However, it's still mostly draftable, so I didn't want to eat too much wind here if I could avoid it. The pace is reasonably high, between 5 and 6 watts per kilo the whole way up, but I felt in control the whole way, and I use a feather power up towards the end of the climb, and in general I didn't find this one too tough. As best I could tell, we didn't actually drop anybody else on this climb either, which tells me the pace was not that high. But on the other hand, I still set a PR on this climb, so it wasn't a slow one either, that's for sure. We've skipped forward quite a bit again to the start of the next Titans Grove climb. Again, not too much had happened between the two climbs. The pace had stayed reasonably high. My average, for example, is still almost 270 watts, which is decent. And there had been a few attempts to push the pace, but nothing that really troubled the peloton. Going into this climb, I felt really good still, but I knew that if there was going to be a serious attempt of a breakaway today, it would be here. So I was preparing myself for that possibility. This climb is very draftable, so I wanted to sit towards the front of the group, but still able to draft. We all push reasonably hard here, but I'm still feeling strong, and I can see that the peloton is stringing out quite a bit. I then see that 3 riders are going off the front. I move up a bit to see who they are, and I realize that there are some really strong riders there. I then decide to see if I can bridge the gap and get a couple of seconds on the rest of the group. In hindsight, this was a mistake, I think, as I burned some matches here, but at the time I thought it was worth the effort. And after a pretty good push, I catch up to the front, and I do have a small gap, but they then come off the power and the bunch catches up very soon thereafter. So, perhaps a mistake, but I think the effort I put in did split the group a bit, as probably 5 to 10 riders or so got dropped here. At this point, I believe there are still 4 members of our team in the front group, and Tugaz only have 3 as best I can tell, so things are looking promising for us at this point of the race. A short skip forward here, and we now have just over 2 kilometers to go. One rider goes off the front here, and we don't chase as it wasn't a Tugaz rider. Then another couple of riders go, and I make a bit of a mistake here I think by covering and eating a bit of wind. But I soon ease off the power and move back into the group. Looking back on the footage, I should have sat a bit further back in the group the whole time, but my positioning is still not too bad, I think. With around 1 kilometer to go, the pace increases, and I just try to stay towards the front while preparing to sprint. I am too far forward though, and with around 500 meters to go, I sit up just for a second. Probably another mistake, because the rest of the group soon comes past, and I have to push hard to get up to speed again. I start to sprint with just under 300 meters to go, but as soon as I hit the power, I can tell I don't have that zip today. And I think I only hit 700 or 800 watts max, which is pretty bad for me. And I also fade a bit as we get towards the finish. Not sure what was wrong today, as I felt really good for the rest of the race, apart from the crucial last 500 meters. Annoying. I did have a leg session in the gym the day before, so perhaps that was a factor, but at the end of the day, I just got beaten by better riders on the day. I finished in 10th place, which is not bad I suppose, but I'd been hoping for a bit higher today if I'm honest. But the big question is, how did we do against Tugaz in the end? Drum roll. Looking at the results here, we can see that Tugaz finished in first and second place with Diogo Leite and Luis Castro. That is one heck of a finish, I must admit. Santu Terry Halme from LEQP finished third. That's not surprising, as he was one of the consistently strongest riders during this season. Many congratulations to our podium. We have 3 members from Team Mimir in 8th, 9th and 10th place, and 1 more in 13th place. So a very consistent effort from us here. Tugaz have 1 more rider in the top 15, with David Souza in 15th. So just looking at this, it may seem like we have a slight advantage. But please keep in mind there are bonus points on offer, and taking first and second place would have given Tugaz a lot of bonus points. So it is really hard to tell from this. I did some napkin math right after the race, and I thought we edged it just. But let's have a look at the final standings. So it turns out in the end, we won this race by the tiniest of margins. We managed to get 206 points versus Tugaz, who had 204 points. A 2-point difference. Man, that was super close. The cliché, every point counts, really applied today, that is for sure. So, with that result, it means that we actually won this division by a single point over Tugaz. It couldn't have been any closer, I think. I boldly predicted at the start of the season that we would be in the top 3 at the end, but I am very, very proud of our team for finishing first against some really stiff competition. Hooray for us! Now, just some final post-race thoughts, and we'll wrap up this ZRL vlog series.
Alright, post-race thoughts. Wow, tough race. Great way to finish off this ZRL season. And, don't want to count my chickens here, but unless I misread the results page, I think we also won the race by 2 points ahead of Tugaz. 2 points. Super, super close. And assuming that is correct, that means we also won this ZRL season, which is a fantastic result for us, for Swedish Swifters Mimir. Really proud of the guys. We had a really even team, so everybody contributed, whether it was on the TT or the scratch or the points races. And we rotated guys around again, so we all got to do either 4 or 5 races. So really, really strong team, and we were consistent, which again is why I think we won. So today's race, really good. I felt really strong all the way until the sprint. And as soon as I started to put down the power, I knew I didn't have it today. I lasted about 2 seconds, and then I just tried to hang on for as high of a position as I could. It's a bit of a shame. I felt really good. Maybe I should have tried to go for a long one, but yeah, who knows? The legs just weren't there at the, at the very, very end. Maybe because I went to the gym yesterday and did legs, but that's a piss poor excuse. So the other guys were just stronger today, simple as that. All right, now we need to recover, and then FRR starts on Thursday with the individual time trial, which I am not looking forward to at all, but it needs to be done. So hopefully you'll join me on my journey through FRR Tour, World Tour. It's gonna be brutal, but really looking forward to it. All right, this is Sam trying to spin to win on Swift, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, bye-bye.